Salute Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court right here on the Nothing But Knicks channel. I'm your host, Stephanie from Dope Soul Sports Talk in my weekly spot right here on MBK where it all started. Knicks Miami playoff series, second round. Knicks down 2-1 with a pivotal game tonight. An opportunity to tie it up 2-2 or go down 3-1. I'm not saying we can't win if we go down 3-1, but it will be a tall task. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so you'll be notified anytime we go live. That includes the Queen's Court, of course, the controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, the NBA report with Ron and John from Still Nick Fans, International Andy, Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises with the Losers Lounge. Hopefully, we will have an episode tonight. And of course, Simeon Russell, the creator of this channel, pregame, postgame, the morning shoot around at times, videos breaking things down, news, events. Keep it right here. MBK got you covered. All right, let me bring in Tony Crow from Knicks and Bruises and resident panelist. Let's call him resident panelist, DJ Shuttle. He's with us every week. How you fellas doing?
Yo, Black, it's time. Shout out to the chat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we had the NBA MBK pregame show today, like we do before every game. And Sam asked a lot of the questions that I was going to ask. So I'm not going to panic. I got some other questions as well. But let's start out with who or what has stood out for you and or concerned you in these first three games.
I mean, the standouts are easy for me. I'm going to give it to, and I'm not even going to give Brunson a standout because he's kind of been who I expected him to be. RJ and Hart, you know what I mean? Like those have been the guys who, and especially RJ, you know what I mean? Like he's been consistent throughout this series. He was consistent at the end of the last series, and he's on a nice little stretch of giving us exactly what we need from him. So yeah, he's definitely been the number one standout. And then even Josh Hart, more valuable than I expected, and I was high of him coming in. You know what I mean? I knew he was like one of those missing, those final piece type guys, but the consistency in which he impacts the game, whether it's through scoring, rebounding, assists, defense, you know what I mean? Like he just finds a way to impact every single game, win or lose. So those are the standouts. And then disappointments. I could almost say everyone else, other than Brunson and Hartenstein. I could almost pinpoint everyone else as some way form a disappointment. Yeah.
DJ Shuttle, you muted. Oh, we still can't hear you. And you're not.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, hit something on the keyboard. Pardon me. So, yeah, I mean, Randall's been awful. Let's just call it what it is. He's been awful. And, for all the fans that were saying get rid of him, wow. It's like, what can you really argue against that right now? Because you had an all NBA season, and for the second time, you go into the playoffs and you stink up the joint. So, like, it's a double stink right now because it's the second year that in 3 years he's done it. And while I understand he had a bit of an ankle injury, you out there playing. Jimmy Butler's playing. He's not making any complaints, and he's getting busy. So, like Randall by far is by far just stinking up the joint. I don't know if I'd call anybody else a real disappointment. I wish Mitch was doing a little bit more, but he's not to the point where I can say he's a disappointment. Definitely agree. Josh Hart is doing his numbers, and playoff RJ could potentially be a thing. That's the one thing about RJ, man. It's like, if anybody is like cool under pressure and like the moment's not too big and all of that. No matter how much he disappoints me and frustrates me other times, I still can say there's a bit of confidence that where 9 out of 10 of the players, I wouldn't have the level of confidence I could still have. Like, yo, RJ, I know you can do it. Just do it. You know what I mean? Versus, oh, you're awful. You can't do it. You know what I mean? And he's severely stepped up. And I mean, man, the games wouldn't be this close. We wouldn't have won the game we won if not for RJ's performance. So hopefully he continues to to over exceed expectations.
Yeah, I agree with the both of you. I think what has stood out and is also a concern, as both of you alluded to, I don't know if Tony alluded to it, but DJ Shuttle, is Randall's play. You know, I'm not saying I'm not buying that he's not 100%. He might not be, but I still think even at not 100%, less than 100%, I should say, I'm just expecting more from him, and we just haven't gotten it. And I get it; he's had 2 sprained ankles, right? The same ankle. So I kind of get it, but the advantage we had on paper is just not there without Randall. It's just not there without Randall. And to Tony's point, when we did the MBK pregame show, he talked about how, oh, it was Tony or Sim, how other guys are stepping up on Miami, playing better than they've played in the regular season, and we're not getting that. We're not even getting guys playing to the level at which they played in the regular season. So you can have the better team on paper, but you have to play the games. And right now, Miami is just outplaying the Knicks. I'll bring up some stats that'll show that basically they're beating the Knicks at their own game. You know, so I think that is a concern. I'm concerned because they're taking away what the Knicks like to do the best. You know, the Knicks were the 3rd ranked offensive team, and not necessarily because of field goal percentage and 3-point percentages, which was, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but because of other things. And Miami is taking that away from the Knicks. And my concern is that we're not going to shoot well enough to overcome that. Tonight will tell. If we're able to knock down some shots tonight, we win the game. It's just as simple as that. How confident are you in the Knicks winning tonight, and why?
I'm not very confident. I'm not very confident. I mean, it's not only the Knicks. It's Miami. Like, listen, Miami Bucks series and these first 3 games, Miami is playing super focused, really good defense, and they're whipping that ball around. And they have really good shooters. And even though the defense for the Knicks has been okay, it's not been good enough for a team that doesn't panic, that shares the ball, that has a bunch of really good shooters, even without Tyler Hero or Oladipo, you know? And they're just playing real smart, real focused, and real disciplined. The Knicks, the defense is kind of like the beginning of the season where players are all over the place. They don't know where they're supposed to be. They don't get to the spot fast enough. And Miami's whipping that ball around. So I gotta keep it a buck. I'm not very confident, and the players on the Knicks are not giving me reason to really be confident. You know, there's been too many games now of players, not being efficient. And my guy Randall, man, like, I've been the biggest Randall advocate and supporter, but like, he done really went into like Tasmanian Randall. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's out there now like he didn't have his medicine. And he's so focused on being crazy, and he's less focused on being efficient. So, I'm worried. I got to keep it a buck.
Yeah, I just want to highlight this, and Tony, it looks like you had something to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. Keith Turner, what I don't understand is why Randall gets all the heat when Grimes, IQ, Brunson, and RJ were all awful in game three. But I think we're talking about more than game three. I think we're talking about the entire playoff series, but particularly this series as far as Randall's play. Tone, you want to say something?
Well, let me first just agree with you. I named three people that played, four people that played well, and I thought I was referring to the full series, and then everyone I didn't name was
Mm-hmm.
was underperforming. So that included IQ, that included Grimes, that
Mm-hmm.
included Mitchell Robinson, that included Randall. You know what I mean? So it's not just all on Randall, but
Right,
we need,
right.
and I won't even say that necessarily we need Randall to win the game, but he needs to be engaged, a little bit more engaged, and that's what my problem was with him in Game 3. He didn't look engaged. Um, he didn't look like he had that extra effort. You know what I mean? Like it was just a lot of plays where he didn't look like he was on the floor mentally, and I don't mean it like mental health wise. I just mean like he just was checked out type thing, and I don't think that was the injury per se. I don't know what it was, but I don't even expect him to be that way coming into this game. Like I think this would be a one of those games where we might see the best Randall of the series tonight, because it's law of average. You know what I mean? Like he's got to figure it out at some point.
Right,
Yeah,
Um,
he's
right.
due. He's due.
and I feel that way about the Knicks as a whole when it comes to shooting. We can't. There's got to be a game where we kind of turn it on. Hopefully, it wasn't just that 40% shooting as a team game
Mm-hmm.
two, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm talking about better
Mhm.
than that because I think we can shoot better than that. We're,
Right.
we're capable, and we just haven't seen it yet. We've been horrible as a collective. It's not
No,
just on Randall.
no doubt about it.
And Steph, just to
Oh,
also
yeah.
add
Mm-hmm.
to Mr. Turner, uh, Randall is the one who's the All NBA player, All Star player. So my expectations, and it's kind of like, if you're the guy, then you got to be the guy even more when the playoffs start. Like
Right.
IQ's a backup guy. Grimes is, a guy that doesn't even get plays run for him barely. We already said that IQ was not up to par. We know that. And RJ actually, minus game three, games 1 and 2, he might have won one of the games for us without his performance. Who knows if we even win that game? So
Right.
I think it's more than just only game three. It's collectively in the playoffs we're talking about.
Yeah, I brought the comic back up, but you hit it on the head, DJ Shuttle. And I was going to ask, is more expected of Randall because he's, for a lot of people, the best player on the team, or at least one of the best players on the team. Do you hold him to a higher standard than you would a Grimes on IQ on RJ? And for me, the answer is yes.
Clearly.
Yeah,
And that's why he gets more heat. No pun intended.
yeah, yeah. Now, I don't know if fair is the right word. What's fair, right?
Everything is
But
fair when you're living in the city. Tribe called Quest.
so, I mean, listen, Randall, fair or not, got a lot of heat in the Atlanta series, right? He didn't play well. You can argue that he didn't play well because he didn't have the supporting cast and they were able to load up on him. He didn't have a lot of space and there wasn't anybody that, Atlanta had to pay attention to, right? This team is better. But in terms of performance, you can argue that we may have better players, but the same thing is happening. These guys are not performing up to the level we thought they would. They're not scoring at that level. They're not shooting at that level. And that allows Miami now to load up on Randall. Just your thoughts on that, or do you just feel like that's all hogwash It's Randall not performing.
I'm a Randall guy. He hasn't been performing. Like he's been rebounding the ball well, but other than that, you know what I mean. Like I can't even say that because he's been passing the ball well.
Absolutely has.
You know what I mean. But his shot is missing. His aggression is missing. Like the Randall, like I'd rather him be aggressive and make mistakes than be passive and make mistakes. And he's been passive. You know what I mean? If even engaged at all. So that's my individual issue with Randall. You know what I mean at this point. But yeah, there's blame to go around. Mitchell Robinson, you got to figure out how to stay out of foul trouble. The fact that he's getting in foul trouble so quickly, it's messing up a lot of things moving down the line within the game. Um, you know what I mean? There's blame to go around all across the board. You know, I don't even want to mention quickly because I hope he's healthy and he could play. Because if he's
Somebody
gone,
said he was out.
oh, and there you go.
Yeah, somebody
Number
said he was out.
let's also not take into account that our bench was a strength of ours, and removing um Hart from the bench and putting him in the starting lineup, took away another one of our strengths moving forward. So now we're talking about that quickly being out, even though he hasn't really, shown much. Our bench is getting more and more depleted, as we go forward.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. How how confident are you? Did I ask that question? How confident are you in the
I,
game? And
I,
then I would say I'm hopeful. I'm not going to say I'm going into this game super confident, like we got it, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I feel like after game one, the Knicks came back and shot well. They shot 40% from three,
mhm.
but we still needed timely 3 pointers from Hart right at the 5 minute mark, I think, and at the 140 mark. So we still needed some timely 3 point shooting. But I thought the Knicks shot much better in game two. I'm hoping that we get something similar here in game four. Like they understand that we have to knock down some shots to pull them out of, out of the paint. I think that they're committed to the paint and they're basically saying we just don't trust that they're going to hit enough shots. And one or two shots is not going to pull us out of what we're doing. They're going to need to shoot a few of them to pull
I
us
mean,
out of what we're doing.
one or the other. As far as like with Randall having what we've been accustomed to being a more typical Randall game as opposed to what we've been seeing in the postseason. You know what I mean? Somebody just said it. Kaiser Sose 718. If Randall gets 20 and 10 on good efficiency, we win. And so I think that is more true because I mean that's what we've seen throughout the season. You know what I mean? Like if he's giving us that, we could overcome some of our team shooting deficiencies, but we can't have him playing underperforming and us as a team shooting at such a horrible clip. It's just a recipe for disaster. Um, I'm about 50-50 on it. I say I'm probably with you, like more hopeful,
Right.
less like definitively confident, but not really worried or doubtful either. You know what I mean? Like it's an accomplishable task. We can win. Um, it's not out of the realm, but a couple things got to go right. Let's not forget
No,
we got that good call down the stretch too in
I'm,
that win. You
I'm
know what I
worried.
mean? So
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm worried. No, quickly.
Yes,
Randall's playing
quickly is
how he's
out from what I
playing.
understand.
Quickly's out. Butler's playing. So respect to DJ. Shout to Space Ghost. Um, you know what I mean. But I'm worried. I'm worried. You know what I mean. I'm worried, and like this might be one of those times when you have to. And I don't want to jump the gun, Steph, but this might be one of those times for an audible and to do something drastically different to shake it up, because what's working or what's not working is not working.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we saw a little Randall Obi Toppin lineup in there, and it might just be time for more of that.
Obi Toppin.
And
Yeah.
Randall in the lineup together.
Oh, small ball. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Salute to Ajay. Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate your insights. Before I get to you, Ajay, I just want to ask this question. And I said something similar. Someone said something in the chat. They're doubling Randall. There's not a lot of space in the key. A lot of time you see him just jacking up a 3-point shot or a long two because there's just not that space. Is Randall ineffectiveness, I should say, a direct result of the fact that we're not shooting the ball well? He doesn't have the space to operate in the paint the way he's used to. And he's going against Bam Adebayo, who Abadai. Well, anyway, he's going against Bam, who's a very good, on-ball defender. So how much of it is us not having the spacing for him to do what he does?
Well, again, Steph, I know we're going to talk about it more later, but that's exactly my point about putting Toppin in. You know what I mean? That's exactly my point, because, if he's in the lineup, now you don't have Mitchell doing nothing, clogging down low. And Ihart, while he's definitely better offensively, just the diversity of what Toppin can give you. And I'm like, all right, well, listen, if you're going to have Kevin Love in there, listen, Obi, you got this 87-year-old guy on you. Do something. Get busy. And, I just think at this point, considering this specific team, I'm not really a huge advocate for the small ball lineup with Toppin and Randall, but I think against this particular team, their bigs are not that big, and Randall should be able to defend against Bam, and Obi should be able to defend against Love, and hopefully take better advantage of it on offense. And I think that frees up the offense. It gives a better shooter from downtown, and helps the spacing that Randall and Brunson both need when they get into the paint to dish.
Ajay, any thoughts on, we were talking about Randall and his ineffectiveness in the series? How much of it is the injury? How much of it is how Miami is playing us, packing in the paint, and how much of it is just him being shook and not being a playoff performer?
Well,
number 3 is not what I'm saying. I'm just throwing it out there. This is what I'm hearing on Twitter.
Right. And first of all, salute to you, Queen. So to the panel, so to the chat, NBK, Knicks Nation, and all that good stuff. I was listening on the way in, and sorry I'm late, Queen. I told you I would make it exactly on time.
Yeah, of course.
So I want to back up a little bit because I was listening to you guys, and in terms of blaming Randall, listen, I'm no Randall guy, Queen. You know this, but that's please. I don't want to hear the excuses. Blame it on Randall. Okay, this is a team. Okay, if Randall don't play well, somebody else got to pick it up. That's what Miami does. That's what all the other teams do. I'm not trying to hear it's Randall's fault. Okay, Jalen Brunson here, he's a stud. RJ Barrett's here, he's a stud. If Randall not playing well, and that includes the coach got to be able to recognize when somebody don't have it, put him on the bench. He's got to be able to do that.
Hold on. Buller's averaging 37 points a game. He averages like 24, 25 in the regular season. He's in the playoffs and he's elevating. Like, there's no, Duncan, you figure it out, or somebody else do it because Butler's not going to do it tonight. Butler's doing it, and the other guys are doing well. I'm just saying.
Okay, the other guys are doing well, right? So Duncan Robinson, he ain't been doing well all season, right? When they call him in and play, he comes in, he performs. It's a team. It can't be when we lose, it's Randall's fault, and when we win, it's not Randall's fault. Like, it's got to be consistent. It's got to be. There's 5 of us on the court. We lose. It's not Randall lost and the other guys win. You know what I'm saying? So Obi Toppin comes in, he throws up 2 air balls the other day. and they put him out.
Awful.
You know what I'm saying? So it can't. Listen, like I said,
Are we blaming Randall, or are we just saying that he needs to pick up his play? Do you think we're blaming him? I don't think we're blaming him. I just think we're saying that we're going to win. He's one of the best players, if not the best player on the team.
I kind of heard blame. But if you're not, my bad. Then I understood.
No, I did say he's stinking up the joint, and he is. And that doesn't mean that the team can't win, even if he's thinking of the joint. That that doesn't excuse Quickly's performance. It doesn't excuse Grimes' lack of impact. It doesn't excuse the games RJ hasn't played well. Yeah, I mean, of course, you win as a team, you lose as a team, but at some point, right? Like in your house, the man is probably the leader of the house, and if the man doesn't have the right attitude and is not providing for the family, et cetera, the family's not going to be in good shape. And you can't look for the kids that don't normally take care of the bills to start taking care of the bills. Randall he's a leader of the team, and he has been for 4 seasons. So, listen, it's a team.
I agree, but
the reason why Duncan Robinson and those other guys are doing well is in part because Butler's doing so well. It makes their job even easier, and they can feed off his positive energy and his positive performance. But
stay in their roles.
You got negative. You got energy that's not really good. You got poor efficiency, and you're not making me feel like I could do better. And you're encouraging me and putting me in a vibe and an energy where, as a role player, I can do better.
I listen. I agree. Randall is responsible just as the other guys are. But to counter your point,
he's more responsible.
No. To counter a point, right? Game 2, Jimmy Butler was in slippers on the sideline over at Madison Square Garden. What happened? Gabe Vincent gave us 22. Cody Zeller, not Cody Zeller. What's the other guy name?
Martin.
The twin brother there.
Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin. He gave us 21 points, right? I mean, those guys been sleepwalking all year. Okay, Jimmy Butler not there. They picked it up. Okay, listen, something else is wrong. It is Randall's fault, but it's not just Randall's fault.
Of course,
it's everybody's got to step it up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to step it up. And if I'm the coach, the assistant coach, the team, the other players, this is going to be game 4. You got to realize this guy doesn't have it. Okay, and listen,
which guy is this?
Randall. If he doesn't have it, somebody we gotta listen, Queen. It's a team. Listen, these guys are talented. They have to be able to pick it up somehow. It can't be Randall's ain't doing right, and then Obi Toppin comes in and throws up 2 air balls and do nothing else.
No.
Lost on defense.
Right.
Like he doesn't know what's going on. Like you gotta up your game. Everybody.
But are we talking about game 3, or are we talking about the series? Because I think you can compensate for a guy for a game.
Game three, fresh in my head, still hurts.
Okay.
And I don't understand game 3, by the way. And Queen, I always tell you the numbers usually tells you the story. Game 3, it didn't make any sense. It made sense that we lost. It just didn't make sense that we got blown out. Miami shot 21% from 3.
Yeah, but where they got the advantage is they made more free throws than the Knicks even attempted.
You know what that means? We need to be more aggressive.
Yeah, no, I do. But I'm just saying, I think that was a big part. I'm not saying that was all of it, but I do think that was a big part, numbers wise. Because you're right, they didn't shoot well either.
One other key, in addition to the 12 additional free throws that they made, that's 12 points right there at the foul line. But the other key thing, Steph, you talked about it earlier, the Heat are beating the Knicks at the Knicks' own game. The Knicks game typically is grabbing loose balls, 50-50 balls, pause, and second chance points. The Heat had 18 second chance points in game 3. To me, that's where the game was lost, because that is actually an area where the Knicks usually are the team getting the plus 18 or plus something on the side. That's 9 out of 10. That's like an advantage Knicks, second chance points. So you lose 12 points at the foul line and you give up 18 points in second chances. That's 30 points right there. That's the game. That's the game.
and that's the entire team. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys.
It
You
is
know,
the entire team, Ajay. And I'm not disagreeing with you, but my question is, don't you think that there is more of an onus on the best players, or do you feel like Brunson and Quickly is equal?
no.
Brunson has to show up. I just think that, if you're one of the better players on the team, the better you play, the more it allows players to stay in their roles.
Queen, I agree.
Ooh,
I
can I
agree that.
jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Because it's not equal. But one of the like calling cards of our team has been this next man up.
There
So
you go.
it's kind of
There
been
you go.
something that we've relied upon all year long. And even in that sense, we haven't been able to do that in the playoffs. Like everybody has been, or most of our guys have been playing worse than they've been playing in the regular season. So I agree. You know what I mean? I mean, we all agree it's not solely on Randall, but even in Randall's absence, like, I mean, Obi had a big opportunity game one. We lost that game. We can't put any blame on Randall with that one, right? It almost was like, all right, now we need Randall more. And I was one that I mean, I still feel like we could win if Randall's out, but a lot of those other things that we've relied upon all year long, they got to go right, and they haven't. You know what I mean?
And
Not against this
and
Miami team, Tony. Unless
Tony,
Well, I don't
everybody
mean
else
I don't mean
played
I don't mean
lights
the
out.
series. I'm at a game. I'm at a. I don't
Okay,
mean.
okay.
I'm
and
talking
Queen,
about
Yeah, I
the
I was
agree.
series.
I
listen.
agree.
Tony took this right out of my mouth. But one thing I'm gonna add, right? How many
Mhm.
times you said on this show, on like in I've heard this all across content media, right? If
Mhm.
Obi Toppin wants minute, if he wants some minutes, he's got to show that he belongs, that he deserves the minute. He didn't show. Like Julius Randle's not stepping up. This guy comes in, he doesn't do any better. But you want minutes? Like, how do you want minutes?
But in all fairness, when he started for Randall, he had 18 and 8. I
Okay,
mean,
so
I mean,
he's got to stay on the same pace. You got to continue to play well.
I
You know,
just think for guys like that, it's hard to expect that sort of consistency. But I hear you.
then it's
Um,
hard to give him minutes for guys like that. Guys like
all
that,
right,
it's
AJ
hard to give
coming
him minutes.
in hardcore
No, but
today.
I
He's
listen. We
hardcore.
have to be honest. You know, we have to look at it the way it is. Guys
And
like that, it's hard to give him minutes.
And you
also
say you're
too,
not a Randall guy?
No, I'm not.
Right.
I'm,
I
I'm
am a Randall guy, but
listen.
you know what I mean.
I
I'm
wanted
honest
Randall.
too.
I wanted Randall out of here last year, man. I'm
yeah,
not even on front. I listen. When he was playing bad, I didn't want him on the team.
one thing you
I,
said, Tony, though, was about the next man up mentality. And, Brunson's been out, quickly stepped up. RJ was out. Josh Hart stepped up. Grimes had some moments where he played well. Mitch was out. Ihart stepped up. But Randall is the guy
Even
who
Sims early in the year, and,
but,
and,
but
and Deuce, just to throw
and
them in
Deuce.
there.
But Randall is the one guy who really didn't miss any time until the
that's
very,
true.
very end of the season, last
That's
5 games
true.
or whatever it was. So it wasn't like the team needed to have a next man up mentality with
With
Randall for
him,
any sustained
that's
period
true.
that
That's
we
true.
can say next man up will work in the case of Randall being out. That
That's
that
true.
wasn't proven this season.
That's true.
So
That's true.
and
Because we
as
had
much
either one
as
of them. We had
and
Brunson
as
or Randall.
No, Brunson was
Yeah.
out. Brunson was out for some extended a few times, and
No,
quickly
no, no, no,
stepped
no.
in and played well. And then Deuce came with the bench and he played decent. But for all the people that want Obi to play all these minutes, that want Randall gone, and I'm like, at Jay's point, it's like, well, I mean, one game to do 18 and 8 ain't enough when you had a handful of opportunities now.
Yeah, I mean,
But this is
no, I was
this
gonna
is
say,
what I
do you
will
realize
say.
how
Mhm.
much Obi's stock would have? I mean, his stock would have shot through the roof if he came in here. Julius Randle not performing, and this that kept coming, he busted out, man. Are
He's
you kidding?
blowing he's blowing that
Like he
contract.
he would have been
He's,
driving. What kind
Right.
of money he gets. When time to re up.
I
yep.
get it, but this is the difference, though. Randall is a go-to player, and Obi plays off of players. So it's really hard to expect him to come in and take Randall's place. Basically, when Randall is out, RJ becomes that go-to player so that Obi can stay in his role. He's not a go-to player. You're not gonna throw the ball into Obi and ask him to get you a bucket. He has to play off of guys, so that means he has to get the opportunities first because other guys are passing him the ball, and then he has to make the most of the opportunity. So I think it's a little different. He's a little further down in the pecking order, even when Randall is out.
Clearly.
Right. Somebody has a question for us, and then I want to get to the stats and show a little bit how I do believe Miami is beating us at our game. I think that's Thousand Eyes 85. Here's my question to y'all. If we were to list off the best players still in the playoffs, how far down until we list a Knicks player? 13? So I guess what he's trying, are you trying to say, Thousand Eyes 85, that we should just chill? The Knicks don't have the caliber. They're not top heavy. They don't have the caliber of players of these other teams in the playoffs. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm not sure.
I think that
And
is
I think a better question.
I mean, that's a tough question. I don't even. It's kind of tough to even know who the hell is still in the playoffs.
Right, I don't even know. I'm
in a
only
split
focused on the
second.
Knicks. Who else is playing?
And I mean, I would rephrase the question and say, how many of the I wouldn't make it against the Heat and the Knicks players and where they rank, because that's who we're playing right now. If you're gonna make that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like unless you think Bam and Jimmy are gonna be on that list before anybody on the Knicks, you know what I mean? Then I get your point in the question. But if it's like Jimmy's here, then it's Brunson, then it's Bam, then it's Randall, or any order similar to that, then you know what I mean, it's equal, it's more equal than.
Yeah. I mean, we did that. We do a Miami
did.
Heat and New York Knicks draft. Series B, Randall's just not a playoff player. And you know what? He's going to have to change that narrative. I think we can come to bat for him, and we could talk about the ankle, and we could talk about how he's not getting the space in because we're not shooting and this and that. Randall is going to have to answer that question. And I'm not sure it's going to be answered this postseason because of the ankle. Like, that ankle is there, you know? Yeah, that's interesting. All right, let me show this
But that I'm sorry,
really quick.
that ankle won't be
Mhm.
an excuse, be able to be an excuse, because you know what I mean. Like Sim has said, and I'm sure others have said, if you if you if your ankle is restricting your game, then don't play.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like don't play, because you
Tony.
can't get judged. You can't
Basically,
get.
53 said, get it right. Two ankle injuries.
if you suit up, you expect it to play. To play. If you're not
But I understand you're expected to play, but how effective are you expected to
you
be?
expect to be effective. If you suit up, if the medical staff say you're a go, you're a go. You got to perform. Listen,
All right.
no, okay. Go ahead.
I just want to show this is the Knicks regular season, them versus Cleveland, them versus Miami. Obviously, points against Cleveland, the number one ranked defense in the entire NBA in the regular season. Miami was up there, I believe. The scoring is going to come down. The Knicks field goal percentage has gotten slightly worse, progressively worse. The 3-point percentage has gotten worse. I think their rebounding overall was worse versus Cleveland, but the offensive rebound, right? 12.6 in the regular season, 15 offensive rebounds. It's a big part of how we score. Second chance opportunities leading to second chance points, turnovers. But look at what Miami is doing. Points in the paint from 52 to 44. Now, obviously, there's less possessions, right? We got to take that into account. Second chance points, 16. What's in parentheses is against the 15th out of 30. Cleveland 12th out of however many made the playoffs in the first round. Second round, 9th out of 16. But second points in the paint from 52 to 44. Second chance points from 16 to 13.7. Fast break points from 12.8 to 9. Points of turnovers from 15.6 to 8.7. Bench points is not correct, so ignore that. But this is what I really. Oh no. Did I get the wrong one? Oh, this is what I really want to get to through three games. So Miami knows how the Knicks want to score. Points in the paint, second chance points. I don't think fast break points is a big part of how the Knicks want to score. I don't think points off turnovers is a big part of how the Knicks want to score. But I think getting up enough attempts, right? Enough field goal attempts, enough 3-point attempts, whether we shoot them well or not. And they've been mitigating that. Points in the paint, 44 to 42. Knicks are just +2. Second chance points, 10.7 to 13.7. 13.7 is well below our season, not well below, but below our season average, below our average against Cleveland, but +3 on Miami. Fast break points, dead heat. Points off turnovers. They get 20 points off of our turnovers in this series. We have 8.7, right? Field goal attempts. This is how the Knicks get their points. Let's get more attempts. 86.3. They got 86.7, a wash. We're shooting 42%. They're shooting 42%, a wash. But look at the 3-point percentage. We're taking 38. They're taking 40. We're shooting 27. They're shooting 30.8. And again, the margins are small for Miami, but when we played Cleveland, these margins were big. So it didn't really matter that we weren't shooting well. We were going to get second chance points, second chance opportunities. The Knicks were first in the playoffs in points off turnovers in that first round. I think they got like 20 points off turnovers or something like that, which was number 1 in the league in the playoffs. Free throw attempts. That's another point why the Knicks were the third best offense, because we got to the line a lot. Whether we hit them at a high rate or not, we're going 24 times, we're shooting 68%. They're going 26 times, shooting 81.8%. Right? Our offensive rebounds, 12.6, they're 12.3. So the margins that we had in the regular season, the margins that we had against Cleveland, we don't have those margins against Miami. So which is why the shots we do get, the opportunities we do get, we have to take advantage of them. They're shooting better than us they're winning the rebound battle on the defensive boards and overall. And it's even on the offensive boards, 12.6 to 12.3. So they're just really stalling us, mitigating our advantage. And also that means that the Knicks have to shoot better. And we're not. We're shooting 42% from the field. We're shooting 27% from 3. We're shooting 68% from the free throw line. Do you get what I'm saying? If we don't have the advantage in those other areas, your percentages have to be better. And this is the concern I have from the Knicks. Field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage.
This is if I had to equate it, this reminds me of boxing, and the Miami Heat are like Mayweather, and they're just gonna defend you and block your punches and not allow you to really hit, or they're gonna move around and not let you hit them. And that's what Miami's doing. And that's why I really think you have to shift. You have to do something to make a drastic change. And I don't know if I'm saying start Obi over Mitchell, but I mean the way Mitchell's playing, and him and Ihart combined for 8 rebounds in the game.
Right.
I mean, like I'm sorry, Tone, if you're not going to defend, if you're not going to rebound, rather, if you're not going to block shots and you're not going to score, and we're not scoring, I'm going to have to shake it up. I'm going to have to shake it up, because I feel like that as long as they have Kevin Love out there, that is somebody that we should be taking advantage of. And
right.
If you have Mitchell and Ihart in the game and Randall, to me, it doesn't allow you the best opportunity to take advantage. Like Kevin Love, you should be looking at that like that's barbecue chicken, or vegan chicken, for all my vegans.
Whatever
you understand?
Or Shuttle. I want to throw something real quick. when they have Duncan Robinson at whoever hit this guy's guard, like you said, that person should be eaten. Whoever Duncan Robinson cannot play a lick of defense. I don't know if you guys watch it. He's like horrible, like
Yeah,
worse
but
than Fournier horrible.
at least he's on the
But whoever,
perimeter though. At
like they
least he's
should
on
be
the
going at him.
but at least he's on the perimeter. So guys like Lowry, Martin, and Vincent, these guys can help him out a little bit more on the wings. But Kevin Love, come on, Obi, Randall, take advantage of this guy.
At the very least, when Duncan Robinson's there, we should get like 2-3 team fouls like in a 1 minute span because he can't defend. Do you know what I'm saying? We got to take advantage, go at him. Like all these things add up. If at the 8-minute mark, there's 14 fouls, you eating the rest of the quarter. Like go at these guys. There's so many ways to go at them. We're not doing
and that's on Tibbs, and we'll talk about that. Let me just read this super chat. Kaiser Soze or Kaiser Soze 718. I hope I got that right. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. I never heard anyone say Shaq and Kobe meet Fisher and Fox. When the Bucks lost, it's on Giannis and Middleton. If the Suns lose, it's on Book and Durant. If the Knicks lose, it's on Brunson and Randall. I added that, Kaiser Soze 718.
Remix.
And I listen. Is Brunson and Randall equal to Giannis and Middleton?
No.
Is Brunson and Randall equal to Kobe and Shaq, or to KD and Book? We don't have we don't have two super talented guy and then
somebody said I had a few other super chats. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we kind of have, we have guys that are up there and then guys who are not too far and then too far below them. That's why it's got to be a team effort with the Knicks. We don't have a Giannis or a Shaq or a Kobe.
I agree, but the top of the chain has to show up.
I agree with that. I'm just saying it can't just be on him. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No. I agree with that as well. Oh, did I have another super chat? I don't.
Yeah, from Kerry Cox, I think it was.
Oh,
I started.
Nikki B from home. Yeah, you did. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Always supporting. If our bench can't match Miami, we can't compete. It's not Randall. We can't expect our starters to score 100 points per game in the playoffs. The bench got to step up. I agree the bench has to step up, but I think our main guys got to do their thing. To just imagine if Butler wasn't doing what he does, and game in and game out, you had to rely on Vincent and Strauss. I don't know if they can do it game in and game out.
I agree. They're a well-coached team, so they're going to play smart. They're going to be focused. They're going to be mostly disciplined. But I mean, saying they're going to win those games is a whole other story.
Kaiser Sozi 718, I appreciate you again. Thank you for the super chat. Making excuses for Randall. When you're a star, you got to play like a star. LBJ, which is LeBron James, ain't pointing at Tristan Thompson or Reeves. Yeah. No doubt about it. I think when you're doing your job and then the other guys don't come through, maybe you can. Maybe you can. Jay Boogie, shout out to the chat and the panel. Blessings, health, happiness. Queen, do you have a link? I do have a link. I'm gonna send it to your DM. Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of combat what Shutter was saying about the small ball lineup. I think it should only be used more in a necessity, and we're having ample opportunities for it to be used as a necessity. I think part of the problem. I think part of the problem with these numbers you had up on the screen a couple minutes ago was number one is it's mostly all effort plays from the Heat, which means we got to fight harder and put a little bit more effort. They're getting a lot of those second third, fourth opportunities in one possession. I've seen that in the
Yes.
last game. You know what I mean? Where
Yes.
the ball was right in someone's hands of our team, or right there where they just needed to make the effort to grab the ball. So that's one of the little things that we could fix. And then to my point with Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein, they've been in foul trouble. Mitchell Robinson hasn't had the opportunities to dominate the glass and get us those second point opportunities because he hasn't been on the floor. And
Okay.
and and that's his own point. I mean, his own fault. You know what I mean? He's got to figure out how to stop getting these ticky tack fouls. You know, he's picking up too early, has to sit. As soon as he come back, gets his third, got to sit. You know what I mean? Like his he's not really having the opportunity to come up with those big second chance points or second chance opportunities when he kicks it out. So I think that's a bigger issue than like having to or wanting to use the small ball. Our bigs got to be able to be on the floor available because his presence alone it deters things, it changes things. You know what I
Whose
Tone,
mean?
presence? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, but
Tone,
this is the thing. They're
Tone,
neutralizing Mitchell Robinson. Like
yeah,
they know what Mitchell Robinson likes to do. And even when he gets the 5 offensive rebounds, he's not getting this, he's not converting them.
Agree. He's missing his free throws definitely. But my thing is, I think they're neutralizing him more by getting him off the court than they are by neutralizing him while he's on the court. Like,
Mhm.
and even if they are neutralizing him, guess what that means? They're putting bodies on him. They're doing things that opens up the rest of the floor for the rest of our guys. Like they got to put a conscious effort to neutralize him. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just one guy and
But
one guy
but I think it's one guy.
you do.
It's
I see
Bam
most.
or Kevin Love. But even if they are taking multiple guys to neutralize him, we're not taking advantage of it.
I agree with that. We need to though, and
Yeah.
a small ball is not going to help that.
Tone.
I
I
think
can.
small ball is not going to help our second chance points, but it'll help us in other areas. Go ahead, DJ. Shut up.
I was gonna say before the playoffs started, I mentioned to Tone my concern with Mitchell Robinson doing just this, fouling out of games in the playoffs, not understanding the moment, and some players they get nervous in the playoffs and they shoot inefficiently. Other players get nervous in the playoffs and they foul with reckless abandon. And this was exactly my concern that I'd be happy to dig up the message and tell you when I told Tone this. This is exactly what I told him. I was afraid that this is what Mitchell was going to do. This is exactly what I said because I just don't, but especially against the Heat, because you got Mitch, who, while he does have some raw talent, he still doesn't have a cerebralness of understanding the game, for my assessment. And then you have the Heat, who are very focused and disciplined, and they know how to create the plays and the opportunity to do just what you said, Steph. Draw the fouls and put you in a position where you're exposed, where you're going to possibly foul. And I think, like you said, they're neutralizing them by getting them on the bench. And it's not an accident though. It's not like he's playing Joel Embiid and Embiid's beating them down low and Embiid's drawing all the fouls on them. The fouls are coming around from the whole team. It's not just Bam.
Well,
Right.
Subtle, if I may, right? He didn't have that problem in Cleveland. That was a playoff, right? That was a playoff series. He goes to Cleveland, he make them two guys look like little boys over there, and then he coming over
Yeah,
here. Then he look like a little boy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen. Either of
the
these
Heat,
guys are
the
better,
Heat,
smarter,
yeah,
or.
the Heat are seasoned from management to coach to players to program to system. Most of these guys were there for the run to the championship
For the
just a
bubble,
couple
the
years
bubble
ago.
run.
Yeah, so like these guys are just more they're They're just more like under control and know what they're supposed to do and do what they're supposed to do. Whether they win or they lose, they know where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to do it, and mostly they do it.
And they
So
execute the game plan.
it's like boxing a
They're better.
champion.
They're better than.
It's like boxing a champion. Miami's the type of team where you have to actually beat them versus them losing to you.
Right.
You know, like this is not a team where, like against Cleveland, where they're gonna just be, I don't know. No, Miami don't play like that.
Right. And it's not just and it's not just a bubble championship. I think they were a shot or so away from the Eastern Conference Finals since the bubble. Last year. So it's not just the bubble. And then you bring in Lowry, Thicky, who, say what you want to say about whether he's in shape or not. He's a champion. He understands what it's like to play on that level. Kevin Love, I believe he won a championship with Cleveland. He knows what it's like to play on that level. So this is Josh, aka Uncle Fulio. Appreciate you. Mitch is not effective defensively in the pick and roll in this particular matchup. Knicks should go small with speed to defend the pick and roll, but not just to defend the pick and roll, on offense as well. You get a Brunson screen on Randall. You get that switch. Now you got Brunson on Bam, or you got Randall on whoever was playing Brunson. Maybe you have an advantage.
I'm ready to see.
I just want to point out, I watched the game 3 times. Nobody on the Knicks was effective in the pick and roll. Like, the pick and roll killed us no matter who was in it. Mitchell Robinson.
You talking about when we ran it or when
they ran it against us, defending it? We had no answers no matter who was in it.
Yeah, defense has been an issue for the entire team.
But I mean, listen, they scored 100 and 20-something points in the first round. They're down to 106. The Knicks can't score.
By the numbers, we're doing a great job defensively. I mean,
by the numbers.
Yeah, by the numbers. Game 3, we scored 86 points. In today's NBA, you can't win. Like, you probably win one game in the regular season, scoring 86 points.
And that's what we was doing in the Cleveland series.
Right.
Listen, it's tough.
Yeah, I was actually watching somebody was doing a synopsis of the Knicks Miami series in the 90s. I think they played each other 4 or 5 times. And when you looked at the score, you put the score of each game, 86 to 73, 92 to 87. I'm like, oh my God. That the Knicks scored 86, they might have won in the 90s. Knicks fans were not ready. Shout out to Kerry Cox, always rocking with us. Your thoughts on that?
I was too busy looking at the fights. Right. I see these Heat Knicks flashbacks. I'm seeing the fights, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, he started getting a little grimy last game. I was like, okay, now we back in rivalry mode. Let's go.
Yeah.
I need some more. I need some more of that energy.
Right. So Kerry Cox, Knicks fans were not ready, and then I'll add to that my question for the panel. Is Miami a better team? I'm not saying we can't win the series, but
I think
are they a better team?
I think they just playing harder.
Okay.
So they're a better team. Like, we probably have more talent. If they're playing harder as a unit, then they're a better team. We have we have better individual players. If you compare Apple, pound for pound. But then in the end, when you throw in the coaches' schemes and the hustle points and the 50-50 balls and all that stuff, they're a better team because they're beating us at every one of those categories.
Yeah, but the series ain't over, so you know what I mean. Like, we win this game and it's evened up.
Tony, up to this point, like we saying this up to this point.
Okay, up to this point, yeah.
In the regular,
they've played better. They played better.
In the regular season, we were the better team because we beat them at some of those categories, and we were the better team.
They've played better in the series by far.
So as a team, they're better. They're a better team, but we probably have better individual players.
Rebuilding, like they said, no. They also now I'm saying, well, the Knicks have the better players on paper, but Miami may be the better team. You taking experience and things like that. But rebuild NYK is saying no. They also have better players. I mean, it depends on if you're talking about, who do you consider better?
Gabe
Somebody
Vincent.
on paper or somebody who's actually showing up in the series? Like, is Gabe Vincent or Max Strauss better than IQ? I want to say no. But in this series, they are.
Well,
Overall, I would say no. But in this series, yeah.
I mean, when you look at a guy like Jimmy Butler, he's head and shoulders above any player on this team. I mean, I know people would like to rate Mitchell really high, but I mean, I think if you're picking a team, you're probably taking Bam over Mitchell. And I mean, we had Grimes starting, but I mean, I don't know. Their starting shooting guard versus our starting shooting guard is probably a wash. I mean, and we're lucky they don't have Hero playing. I mean, because it'd probably be a lot worse than what it is right now. So, and more importantly, is how the team works collectively. And collectively, they're a more cohesive unit.
No doubt about it. But do you think that's because many of them have played together longer? And when you get somebody like a Love or a Lowry, they just know how to play. Those guys, you could just put them on any team.
That's a fact. That's a
I mean,
fact. I mean, you had the coaching to Tyler Hero, Bam, Butler, and then you had savvy veterans like Lowry and Love. Yeah, that's a perfect recipe.
So let me, speaking of coaching, right? A lot of people, people say Tibbs being out coach, coaching. Listen, from game to game, they have a coaching staff, right? We have some studs on that coaching staff here in New York, right? I'm sure Miami does. I don't know their names, but we have some. Listen, Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't go into his hotel room and try to figure this out, right? He calls in the troops, and then they all put their basketball minds together. They're gonna come up with something, right? I mean, I don't understand how people are saying Tibbs got out coached. Listen, and don't get me wrong, when he doesn't make the in-game adjustments, I do put that on Tibbs, because when he's unable to recognize that somebody don't have it that night, that some person committing foolish fouls. Actually, he does. He's not for every player. When Mitch is committing foolish fouls, he put him on the bench. Okay, so he does that sometimes, but he's not consistent with it. But there's a coaching staff. Like, he has other guys talking to him, telling him, what to do. So do we have a problem with the coaching staff, or is it just Thibodeau?
I mean, you could argue that there are some things maybe he can do to get Randall some better shots. They're packing in the paint. Most of Randall's shots, and Tony, you watched the game a few times. I only watched it once, and I had to watch it after the fact. Randall seems to just be taking like off balance shots from the 3-point line, long twos, because he's not able to get to his spots in the paint. Is there anything we can do to help him get better shots closer to the basket? For me, I just feel like if we're not hitting them outside shots, there's no reason for Miami to come out of the paint. It's just no reason for them, for them to do that. And we was talking about Grimes going into the starting lineup in the NBK pregame show, and I'm okay with it, especially if it brings heart to the second unit, and that second unit kind of changes the energy, like Sims brought out. That second unit comes in, you got heart in it, and it just changed the dynamics of what's going on. It changes the energy of the team, and they get rolling. I'm with it for that point. I just think when we talk about how Grimes is going to stretch the defense, I feel like we're overstating it. I get it. I get what we're saying. You got to respect him. There's the 3-point potential. But I feel like Miami is dug in. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No, we can hear you. We can see you.
Oh, okay. I feel like Miami is dug in on their philosophy that they're going to crowd the paint and dare New York to shoot from the perimeter. And I think putting Grimes in that starting lineup and he goes.
Yeah, I mean, is
Queen
Grimes?
froze.
Yeah,
All
is
right, so
Grimes? Is Grimes really less? Is Grimes really that much more of a threat than Hart? That you feel like by not having Hart out there and instead putting Grimes in, that's going to make a world of a difference?
I
I don't think so.
Shuttle. I think so, and here's why. Not because Grimes is a much better shooter or takes more shots. Well, actually, he is a better shooter when he takes more shots. The what Miami's banking on, and that's what's been happening, is that Josh Hart, he's afraid to take that three. Like he takes it when he really have to. Like when it's like that's the last option. That and he takes the shot, right? Quinn Grimes, he'll take it. If Queen dropped, so hopefully she'll come
Yeah.
back. When Quinn Grimes get the ball, I mean, he has a quick release, he has quick high jump. They're banking on the fact that Josh Hart is gonna hesitate. That split second of hesitation is all Miami need to set their defense and either throw somebody at him or get ready to grab the defensive rebound. That's
I'm
a problem.
I'm all for Grimes starting. Like, listen, I think that Hart starting and having that defense on Butler is key. But if Grimes starts and he's not doing well, in 4 or 5 minutes you put Hart in there, great. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And that's why even before the playoffs even started, that was one of the things we talked about. Where we worried about Grimes being ready and the moment being too big. And I'm like, no, because if he starts, he's not doing well. That's somebody you can have an easy, quick hook on, and you just throw a Hart right in there or quickly, whatever the game calls for. So, I don't really think that's an issue.
Oh wait, is Quickly officially out?
Yeah, he's out.
He's out. Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, he hasn't been playing great, but it's still not looking good.
He's due for a big one at some point, right?
Did y'all get my masterful? Did y'all get all of my tape? It was masterful.
We got
most of it. It's like it let you get it off and then it froze.
Okay, all right.
But Quinn, I gotta get out of here. Appreciate you. It's been a week, or more than a week, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, and, same here.
I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll hit you up, see if you're free.
What time?
Back in time. Shout out to the chat.
The game is at 7:30, so and it's on TNT, so they start on time. So we're gonna have to get out of here. Any last words? Appreciate the chat rocking with us as well.
Hey, listen, I'm worried, but I'm all behind the team 100%. So let's not get it mixed up. Let's not get it confused. I am worried, but I'll be screaming at the TV, rooting for the team just like everybody else.
Listen,
in stereo.
I'm gonna be looking for the hustle plays, Queen. The first couple of minutes, I want to see somebody scraped up and bruised and bump because you're diving for a loose ball, like landing in the seats over there in the stands. That's what I want to see, man. If I see that, we get in this game, man.
I'm looking for some small ball. I'm looking for to see how effective Deuce is with the minutes he gets, or to see if Fournier gets in the game or D Rose gets in the game. But those are the two things that I'm looking for: small ball, and to see if Deuce or Fournier have that unexpected impact on the game tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. Small ball. I want to go. I like Obi Toppin at the 4 with Randall because you get the 3-point shooting. But I also like RJ at the 4 with Randall because you get the rebounding. So it's gonna be.
So we're talking about Randall.
Look at that.
So we're talking about
Knicks
Randall.
Can learn how the Pandal is stepping up in Queen's absence.
That's funny. A-Train, all aboard. So we're talking about Randall, RJ, Hart, Brunson and Grimes?
I wish
Is that what you're saying?
IQ was here. At least that there would be more of a threat of a 3-point shooting. Because once you put RJ in there, it just depends on whether he's hitting shots or not. So that's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, but listen, I could see RJ defending on Kevin Love. I'm not threatened. I'm not threatened by that. He's not going to do a whole lot of posting up. RJ is pretty strong. He could, with a little bit of help, maybe he'd do all right. But yeah, I mean, listen, right now you're at the point where you need drastic measures, and you got to pull. This is when you got to pull a rabbit out of the hat, get some magic, and make something happen. So, whatever it takes, Coach Tibbs, you and team, make it happen.
Man, this is it. Do or die. Do or die, man. Do or die. This is it. It's tonight or never.
We don't want to be down 3-1.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm putting my link in the chat for those who are not subscribed to Dope Soul Sports Talk, which is my channel. I'm here once a week where I started. MBK, nothing but Knicks, Queens Court, until Sim says, Steph, it's time for you to move on. I will be here, but I also have my own channel every Thursday night around 9 p.m. Me, Ajay, a few others. We do the Just Nicking It show, and usually the morning after, which I will be doing a morning show tomorrow after the Knicks play, I'll do a morning show around 9ish. So, and then also Tony Crow, who just left, he has his own channel, Knicks and Bruises. So just go to YouTube, put in Knicks and Bruises, and subscribe to Tony Crow's channel as well. Fellas, I appreciate you. And there'll also be on this channel, MBK, as you know, there'll be a post-game show with Simeon Russell. And if we win, Tony Crow will come on after that with the Losers Lounge, where they'll be taking a look at what the Miami Heat fans are saying about the Lost.
I love that show. And listen, guys, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. All right, let's go get this win, man. Let's go get this dub, baby.
Yeah. Peace, fam.
All right.